Anyway, I'm glad that it's gone all over the world, but it didn't help us from being canceled eventually. But as I say, our fans didn't cancel us, you know. And I have to say, you know, I mean, you guys, obviously I'm very old, I've done a lot of different things, but Warehouse 13 was...
I was very disappointed when that went off the air.
You know, we were too, especially since I've still got a son in college. So I was a bit disappointed, and the bank that has my mortgage was disappointed. But other than that, it was a family affair, and I'm sure you could tell from watching it. You guys know the show.
Yeah.
Some of them do. It was a family, whatever you saw on screen was real. I mean, we loved each other, we fought and argued like a family, we cried together and laughed together every day. And it was one of those things, as an actor who'd been in the business for more decades than I, you know, care to mention, I was already at that point in my career thinking I'm going to concentrate on writing and directing. I'd already directed 4 independent films. I'd written a play that eventually got on here in London 3 years ago at the Chocolate Factory. It was directed by Frank Oz, film director, and it was called Terrible Advice. And I was concentrating on that. I was you know, concentrating on that part of my career, on writing. And out of nowhere, this Warehouse 13 happened, which is the life of an actor. Because those of us that are working actors, you know, we don't sit around with, like movie stars, with a dozen offers on the table. That's a rarefied universe that I know nothing about, you know. It really is a question of us working and going to meetings, going to auditions, competing for roles we want to do, and making decisions that are good for us and good for the family at the same time. So suddenly this role came about, and it was a magical piece written by David Simpkins, and then we had the amazing good fortune of bringing on this extraordinary man, Jack Kenny, who became our head writer and our showrunner, and he really was the father, the Artie of the group, and he was able to instill us with a great sense. He called it a thriller-omedy, because we'd have to walk this wonderful tightrope as actors, which had to do with farce, comedy, drama, suspense, tragedy, all usually in the same scene. And we also were proud of it. I mean, Eddie McClintock, who's Pete Latimer on the show, and I were the only 2 dads on the show, the only 2 people who had kids on the show. Cece has kids, Cece Pounder has kids. That were, you know, we were talking about the fact that we were proud of it, that a family could watch the show. You know, there were very few things on the air other than, well, there's some half-hour stuff, but hour-long stuff, anything like that was usually, you know, some kind of music competition or voice competition kind of show, like American Idol or, you know, Britain's Got Talent or whatever. That's when a family watches a show. But if you're talking about a drama or an hour-long drama, what shows can you watch with your kids and feel like you're not being talked up to? And this show had, you know, sexual innuendos on this level, and it had slapstick on this level, it had intellectual stuff on this level, it had references here. It was all over the place. And so all over, for the last 5 years, it's been a tremendous pleasure. You notice you don't have to ask me any questions. For the last 5 years, it's been a pleasure to have people come up to us and tell us that we made a difference to their families because they could watch it together. That really was moving to me, that's something that we could do for 5 years. I'm thrilled about that.
I mean, looking back into the further mists of time, another show that you're involved with that everyone in the world seemed to love and was very emotionally invested in was, of course, Frasier. And I'm curious what it was like being a part of a big, you know, TV phenomenon.
You know, it was a very odd thing for me because I hadn't done a lot of for-camera work. I'd done a little bit as a young actor in Toronto, a couple of shows, and then I had done a series in 1997. I was part of a series for one season. We did 22 episodes called Ink with Ted Danson, Mary Steenburgen, and it was just one season, and then it was canceled. And it was very interesting because I was, you know, one of the main characters, but in that particular case, when a show is starting off, you've got the network, the studio and the network, both, all the executives coming, because it's shot in LA. Very few for-camera shows are shot other than LA. I mean, occasionally, you know, a major star will insist that it be done in New York, but they're really not shot like other shows wherever there's, you know, right-to-work states, or it's cheaper to shoot in Louisiana or in Georgia or Canada or whatever. For-camera shows are going to be shot in LA, and the executives, because of that, get to go. which is a blessing and a curse because then you get a lot of notes. So you were surrounded in a new show with not only the studio notes, I'm talking about mostly the writers, not me, but the studio notes, and then you get network notes. And so it's a melange of executives with contradictory notes, and it is a very clever political Babylon that people have to interpret in order to be able to make a good show. Very difficult. I walked into, God knows what season it was, 9 or something. I was asked, it was one of those odd situations as an actor that come around rarely, where I get a call saying, listen, they would like to talk to you about doing 3 episodes of Frasier. And I said, okay, well, can you give me the scenes and I'll learn them and I'll go audition for it. He said, you're being offered this. And I said, hello? Is this some kind of joke? And I said, because I've had offers before, but for a show like that, usually you have to compete. And I thought, okay, somebody knows my work. It must be Chris Lloyd or one of the guys running the show. And I met with a writer who sat down with me and said, look, we'd like Daphne to have a boyfriend that Niles has to take seriously, and not to, I don't want to put you down or anything, but all the other boyfriends were big, hunky guys, good-looking, gorgeous guys. Not that you're not good-looking, but I said, no, I understand. I'm a character actor. I hate the term, but still. And he said, no, because it's you, it's going to be taken more seriously than just eye candy. I said, okay, cool. You're going to be a lawyer, and you're going to be, this. And I thought, okay. So I did 3 episodes. Is all I thought I was going to do. I think I ended up doing something like somewhere around 17, 20, I don't know, something like that over a couple of years. But the storyline was so interesting, that it kept going. Obviously, it was a great storyline. And what was it like? I just finished telling you about all the studios and all the notes. None of that. They just come to have a glass of wine. They just come to go, nice to see you, keep it up, Their show is making billions of dollars for the studio and the network. They're not going to interfere. I'd never seen anything like that. And the other thing I'd never been a part of, was how easygoing everybody was. It was like a little one-act play. We're doing a lot of the other shows that were on at the time that we're doing. Seinfeld was on at the time. Friends was shooting at the time, and we heard stories about how late into the night those people would go. And certainly Seinfeld would shoot every day. They'd shoot location. We were like a play. We didn't shoot locations. Really, we rehearsed not a lot. Kelsey Grammer, if he caught you rehearsing, with another actor, he'd say, stop that. He just liked the spontaneity of no rehearsal. And it was really, really loose. And we got a new script every morning, which is typical for a situation comedy 4-camera show, where the writers see you do a day's work, and then the next morning the actor you get a new script, and the thing about their new scripts was that they threw out jokes that would fill 3 other sitcoms. Anything that smacked of a joke was taken out. Either it was character driven or it was gone. It was a really high standard of writing, and I was, blown away by it, by the quality of the work, and also by how collaborative it was. It really was a little village of very, very talented people with no airs or ego that I noticed, and 20 million people showed up every week. And I'd forgotten it. I went with a friend to Las Vegas. I was going to teach him how to shoot craps. And I'd just forgotten that I was on Frasier. I don't know, it didn't occur to me, because we were in a little, room with a studio audience, and I couldn't get through the lobby. And I hadn't had that in my career. I mean, I was known for this movie or that movie or stuff. Are you the guy who... So I was used to that, but what I wasn't used to was, you're Donnie from Frasier. And of course, and my buddy said to me, you fucking idiot, don't you know that? And I was going, oh right, I forgot I'm on a hit show. It just didn't occur to me, how popular that show was. So it was a combination of incredible good fortune, incredibly nice people, really gifted people, and one of those lucky things that happens in your career, And it was a great experience. Yeah.
And I guess just on that note, obviously audiences waited many, many years to finally see Daphne and Niles together. How did you feel about being the unfortunate Mr. Chump?
What a bitch she was, right? No, I mean, it was inevitable and surprising. It was both inevitable and surprising, which is a definition of good writing, when things are both. The way it happened was inevitable, and the way it happened was surprising. And it was one of the great double episodes, I mean, of being jilted at the altar. I thought it was brilliantly written, and it was great to be just a small part of it. It was pretty cool.
Jane Leeves is on another program called Hot in Cleveland now.
Yeah.
Where she's cycling through numerous boyfriends and exes. Have you been tapped to
no, good idea. Call the producers. Any other questions?
And having worked in film, TV, and the stage, do you have a preference? Is there a great love that you have?
You know, my first love is the stage. I was 7 years old when I started on the stage, and I probably had almost 20 years before I set foot in front of a camera. I was an actor in my hometown of Ottawa, and then in Toronto as a young actor. And it's a great love, and I certainly was doing it up until the moment when my wife announced that, sit down, we're having a baby. And then at that point, I got asked this question in a panel about, how do you choose your roles, as if I have, 75 roles to choose from. But I do get to choose, and one of the things is that being a dad and thinking about supporting a family is that doing theater, most actors really can't go away from theater if you're lucky, if you just paid the bills, you'd be fortunate if you're not going to come away with any kind of profit that you can, so it would be a selfish act, in a way, say, well, honey, I'm off to do a play. Good luck with the kids. Hope the mortgage gets paid. But my soul will be satisfied, and I know you'll be happy with that. So that wasn't going to happen. And so I missed it, I think it's probably why I wrote a play instead, where a commitment was different, where I could be at home writing it and then just, be at rehearsals and see it on and then take off. So that, theater is first love and always, I guess always will be. It's an actor's medium, isn't it? But I love it all when it's great people and great material. You're not getting rid of me. I'm staying here for the next hour. I like these people. Go away. So what else? Other questions?
Sorry, just to be rude, can we make this a last one then?
Maybe not.
I think you'll be summoned by bells.
We don't have to listen to him. He's not a very forceful personality. He's all right. He won't. Right? You won't make any demands. He's armed. Actually, he's got to be careful. Okay. What do we want, guys?
How was it working with Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm?
It was just one of the most odd situations that I've ever been in my life. I was told I was going to go audition for Larry David. It was maybe, I don't know, was it the second season?
Towards the end of season 2, I believe,
yeah. And so it had just been on the air. It was obviously a really funny show. And they said, do you want to go on Curb Your Enthusiasm? I said, sure, what do I do? Well, they're shooting out in a shopping mall. Just go up there. I mean, he'd probably ask you to improvise a little bit, which I'd done all my life, one form of improv or another. And I got into the trailer, which was a common trailer, not his, right? It was like a green room trailer. And he came in, said, oh, hey, I know you. You're a good actor. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I said, okay. I sat there, and he came out of the bathroom, and he said, I don't write dialogue from the show. I write the prose. I write the stories. And the storyline for that character is a dentist, and he started giving me the whole thing. I'm listening to him. And he said, what do you think? And I said, what do I think? Does that sound like it might work? And I said, it sounds hilarious, actually. It sounds really funny. It is? I said, are you insecure about it? He said, I'm insecure about everything. And I said, I'm never sure if anything is going to work. I'm just amazed I'm doing this at all. But does it sound like you'd like that? I said, it sounds really funny, actually, Larry. I mean, I don't think I think it just depends on how it's done, but it sounds like a great storyline. So you'd like to do it? I said, yeah. He said, oh, great, okay. And I realized he'd kind of auditioned for me in a way. It was, and I called my agent and I said, I didn't have to audition. He just read me the thing, and I think he asked me to do it. So that was kind of, I was still to this day, I don't know what happened. Maybe he got it wrong.
You won him over well, though.
Apparently, I didn't do anything. And then it was really interesting because I could understand why they were addicted to it. I'm talking about the writers because they all come out of a writer's room. They all come out of a Seinfeld-type writer's room. I don't know if you know what that's like, but it's nothing but blood and horror, especially in a comedy writer's room, where they tear you apart, each other, and it's competitive and difficult. I'm sure there's a camaraderie. I'm in the middle of a story. Then, can you imagine, you're writing, you've got seasons, you've got big boards up on the wall, you're mapping out 24 episodes, well, suddenly they're all there, okay, even though one of them is directing it, and they're all in the room, and they go to you and they say, okay, in this scene, you're just going to have to give him a shot, and he doesn't want to roll up his sweater because he's afraid of the elastic. So that's all you've got to accomplish is just eventually he's going to argue with you. Just do it at a certain point. Don't try to be funny. Let him be funny. You got to mention this convention at a certain point, this business thing. Other than that, that's it. That's the only thing you have to accomplish. Go. So walk into the scene, and you're just improvising 2 cameras so you can go different angles, right? And we just do it. Then they all rush in. And here's why they're addicted to it. Because they're writing on the spot. You've come up with stuff that they wouldn't have thought of. They're going, cut that didn't work. Do this, that was great, don't lose that. Oh, I got a line. Do you have a line? Yeah, do this line, that was great, don't change that. Oh, change that took too long. And do this, and you're listening, and you go, okay. So they're addicted to the adrenaline of it. The story has been worked out. All the beats have been worked out. You know how intricate Larry David is. All the beats have been worked out. You have to certain points have to be mentioned. But what they're getting off on, if you've got a decent actor, is that they're bringing stuff to the table that they wouldn't have imagined, which is great. They're asking you to hold on to that, get rid of the shit that didn't work, right? On the spot, and there's 4 of them, all doing it, and it's, so you're collaborating, so you can understand why they were so addicted to that. Because once you go back to a writer's room, it's kind of dull compared to that, And I got a feeling for it. I understood doing, I think I only did 2, but I got a feeling of why it was so exciting. Cool.